Hey, Full Armor family, welcome in. Welcome to Full Armor Podcast, episode number 1. We only get one chance to do episode number 1.
I know. So first, I want to thank you guys so much for following along. Thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. So the more subscribers we have, the more it pushes us up on the YouTube chart. And go like the video, whether you like it or not. Just like it for us.
Thumbs up. It's free.
Yeah.
Hit that thumbs up.
Doesn't cost you anything to like it.
Episode number 1 is going to be Jodie's testimony. So I know it's big stuff here. So I think, Jodie, you want to start us off with some prayer?
Yep. Let's start with some prayer because I might need it. All right, Lord, I just want to thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for allowing us to just be able to share our stories, to encourage others, to just be straightforward and be honest, and allowing others to see the truth, to be able to see their testimonies as well, too. Lord, I ask that your words come out of my mouth, that everything that I say is from you. And Lord, I just ask you to guide us and lead us and encourage us to encourage others. It's in your mighty name we pray. Amen.
All right.
All right. Okay.
So I know we've talked about how we're going to start, what area in life we're going to start, but I think often I've tried myself to go back and what is the very first memory I think I can remember? So I'll start like first grade. Okay, I can remember something from there, kindergarten. So let's start off there. What is the very first memory that you can go back and recall as a child?
I think it's kind of like a series of memories, I guess I want to call it. Growing up, my mom had a gift shop and my grandma had the antique shop. So we did like flea markets everywhere. And I don't even remember half the places that we traveled to, but I do know that we went to some place and I feel like it was a state park and there was this really big chair and I remember sitting in it. And it reminds me of Lily Tomlin. Some of you probably don't even know who Lily Tomlin is.
I don't either.
I'm that old. You're older than me.
I don't. Easy. I don't know who's okay. So who's Lily Tomlin?
She was on TV. She had a TV show. Somebody's probably going to know what it was called. But she sat in this really big chair and she just looked really tiny. And that's one of my first.
Somebody add that in the comments so I can read what that's all about later.
Yeah, that's honestly one of the first things that I remember.
Okay. So go right into that then. From that memory, let's go into, say, your elementary years as a child. Talk us through, what was life like? Where were you born? Where were you raised? And get into your elementary years.
All right. So I was born and raised in the small little town of Lamar, Pennsylvania. Just a little speck on the map. If you ever, yeah, I hope so. If you've ever driven down Interstate 80, you've passed it. Through Pennsylvania, through central Pennsylvania. Just a tiny little town. Grew up in a large house. We had a 5-bedroom house with a 4-car garage. And my parents both had good jobs for a little while. And my cousin was my neighbor and my aunt and uncle. So I had a lot of started out really great memories. I remember crying in kindergarten because I didn't want to leave, or I didn't want my mom to leave. And the one girl that was one of my close friends had a doll baby. And they said, oh, well, Angie doesn't have a diaper on her baby. Do you want to go see it? And I'm like, yeah. And that got me into kindergarten. Oh, yeah, kind of.
Oh, well, hey, look at that. It looks like we're already getting phone calls on episode number 1. Thanks, Mom. Hey, tune in. So going from there, we'll learn how to mute things as we go forward.
You asked if my phone was on silent.
I know. Apparently, I'm expecting a call from my mom.
Okay. Anyhow, so as you're going from that, I know times were different back then. Did you have video games? What did life look like growing up as a child? I had probably such a fun childhood because I grew up with a bunch of boys. We played baseball. We dug in the dirt, which I got a funny story I'm going to tell about that too. I lived outside. We rode bikes. We did all the things. I wrecked my bike a lot. So it was me and my cousin and our neighbor kids. And we spent all of our time together. And my sister and my cousin, Nicole, would spend their time together as the 2 older girls. So okay. I was a tomboy.
Well, that's what, that we consider a tomboy. I mean, nowadays it's a little bit different.
Yeah, a little bit.
I know that the agenda that they try and push now, that somebody just likes to go out and and be a child is a little bit different, but
Well, my cousin painted his fingernails and I played in the dirt and we both turned out perfectly fine married to the opposite sex. So there's that.
You turned out pretty good. Yeah. So talk about this hole. You were talking about digging a hole. Let's talk about the hole.
So I want to say we were probably maybe 10 and we decided we were going to dig this hole at the side of the driveway in the edge of the property. And we were going to dig to hell because we wanted to see the demon.
I mean, we were digging to China. I mean, you took it a step further.
I know. We're like, no. So, but we also, man, I really hope that David's listening to this. So we also decided that the way to get him up quicker, because the hole wasn't getting very deep very fast, was to light it on fire.
Well, of course.
Because, fire will bring the devil to the surface. And as soon as we did, I was terrified. I got the hose, I sprayed it, and I'm like, no, we can't do that. I don't want the devil to come. So I remember, I don't know why that's one of those core memories that I thought I could defeat this devil. And
well, you can.
Yeah, I can.
You learned that later in life.
Yeah, we learned that later in life.
Yeah. And which we'll get into, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. All right. So that's your elementary. So what significant memories kind of defined or shaped you into who you are today, even from that early childhood? I know there's a potato incident that
we'll talk about that
if you want to, if that's later on or if that's early enough, but go ahead.
Yeah. So as I said, life was really good, big house. And my dad was an alcoholic. So he worked for a factory and he would get written up because he would go into work drunk. So he continued and they finally had a meeting with him and he got fired. And that's when life literally just spun out of control. We'd have weeks that we didn't have power, that we didn't have water, that we didn't have food. It wasn't ever to an extent that starvation, my grandparents stepped in all the time and took care of us. But we were definitely, I couldn't have friends over to my house because it was not a safe space. My mom slept in her clothes. Yeah, it was a tough childhood from, I want to say.
That's what I was going to ask about what age.
I want to say I was probably 8 or 9 when he lost his job. And
so after he lost his job, it started to get worse.
Yeah, it was 100% a downhill spiral. But I spent a lot of time outdoors.
You're trying to escape it.
Yeah, I didn't want to be home.
Yeah.
By the time high school rolled around, I was.
Man, you go right from elementary to high school?
Oh, okay. I can go back to high school or back to elementary school.
You're trying to grow up too quick.
But there's I really don't remember a lot of that time. I think I just blocked it all out.
It might be because there's some things that probably happened in that time period that you're trying to suppress and keep down because, it's going to bring emotion. It's going to bring things that we deal with. But that's part of your testimony, right? That's why we're sharing this with everyone today, is because there's people that have had similar backgrounds, similar childhoods. Everybody has trauma. It's just different. Right. And so, maybe some of your trauma aligns with someone else's trauma. And that's the reason for giving our testimony, is because as we go through this, you're going to hear other things that Jodie's going to talk about that are going to hit home with some of you and how she dealt with them in a positive way. Because
I definitely dealt with stuff in a negative way
sometimes, yeah. But there's also, there's other ways in which you could have turned and you chose a different route. So let's continue from digging to hell. Right? Let's get past, trying to get out of that.
Okay. I do, if I play back my entire childhood, I remember only one weekend that my dad wasn't drunk. Literally my entire life, one time. We had, I don't even know who they were. Somebody came that I think he used to work with or was in the military with, that came and they stayed for the weekend. And my mom was like, you cannot, act this way. They're here. He spent one weekend and didn't drink. I was like, oh, is this who he is? It was crazy.
Was he different?
Oh yeah. We played in the yard. We flew kites. We did stuff
So he actually come out and interacted with you?
Yes, because he was showing off too, because there was other people there. But literally, he died when I was 39, 38. I remember one weekend. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So the potato incident. Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm 14 years old.
All right, so now we're in middle school. All right, got it.
We're in middle school now.
That's gradual. Good job.
Yes. Some people know this story. I've posted it on my Facebook before, kind of part of my testimony. But again, my dad being the alcoholic, my mom worked in a grocery store. She was a cake decorator, which many of you might remember her. But he was drinking one night, and we had 3 stories to our house. So he was in the downstairs. We called it his den. He came up to the kitchen and decided he wanted food. So he wanted to eat fried potatoes. And he looked, and there weren't any potatoes. They were probably rotten or something, to my guess. But he flew off the handle to my mom. And I remember her words so clearly: "The store is just as far for you as it is for me." And he went, got in his...
I hear your mom saying that.
I know, like literally her words. He went down, got in his... I think he had a car at the time. And drunk, drove to the store, came back with a bag of potatoes, opened his door, and we hear boom, 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 boom. And my mom... See, I can't... Sorry.
It's all right.
I told this story so many times.
Take the time you need. I know.
Anyhow,
we have issues.
I know. But anyhow, my mom's pushing me out the door because we had a plan. If, anything happened, I ran to the neighbors, which is my aunt and uncle, and they called the police and, but hold.
I have some too.
But anyhow, she's pushing me out the door, and we're at the top. There's 2 doors to go in, a top story and a downstairs. And he would always go in the downstairs because that's where the den was. But she's pushing me out this door, and I'm like, no, I'm not going. And he comes inside, and we made it to the outside steps from the second story going down. And he's like, "Well, you can sleep well tonight." And my mom's like, "You only fired 5 shots. I know there's 6 in that gun." He said, "Like I said, you can sleep well tonight." And it was that moment when he walked back in to make those stupid potatoes, which is why this is a potato incident. I said, "What, no 14-year-old should have to tell her mom, we got to go." So it was that moment. Sorry. It was that moment that we started packing. We would slowly put boxes and pack stuff up and put them in our dining room, put them under the table, put them in weird places. And one day he came down, he's like, "Oh, the house is looking nice. Or what are you doing?" My mom's like, "Oh, we're getting ready for a yard sale." So, I literally, through this time, we were preparing for the move. And then I was totally humbled. Like I said, we had a 5-story house, 4-car garage, big house, in the middle of this tiny little town, but it was a nice house. And at 14 years old, a middle school girl moved into a trailer in a trailer park. That is humbling.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, my best friend through high school, her parents, literally would take me in. I spent my entire summer living with them.
So you guys left at that point.
Yes, we moved.
And did you go back after that at all?
Nope. Well, that's not true. But it wasn't for a little bit. I'll get to that part of the story. Okay. But yeah, I was saying, I stayed with Jenna. So I think, Anne, if you're watching, thank you. Because I'd have probably been dead. For real. Yeah. But I did go back one other time because, oh my goodness. And it wasn't because of my dad. I went back because my sister and I decided we had this wild hair and we're going to have a party. And we're going to have it there because he didn't care. So we did. I was maybe 15, 16. Oh gosh, I hope my kids don't listen to this and think it's okay. It's not okay. But we had a little party there, and that was the only time I ever went back.
But your mom never went back. So
Nope.
They never got back together after that point.
No,
That was
no.
it.
Once she got out, she was safe, and we never. It was never a thought. He didn't fight to get us. He never paid child support. Like, she just made it work. She worked 2 jobs, busted her butt. I started working. I think, I don't remember if Shauna was working or not, but yeah.
And you started waitressing? Is that what you did?
Yep. I started waitressing when I think I was still 15, maybe at the time. I might have been 16. And yeah, got my feet wet, and man, we were a busy little restaurant too.
So how was that transition then? So, you just talked about it a little bit, from going from a big house into the trailer. Obviously you're downsizing, but that's a humbling experience as well.
Yeah.
And especially as a teenager, you're already going through emotions and everything that goes on in a teenager's mind and body.
Yep.
So how did you handle that?
I made really bad choices. I would date guys that were older than me. I didn't know how to process any of it. So I literally, like, I think for the most part, I didn't do horrible things because I spent so much time at Jenna's house. Like, that's where I kind of laid my roots for a while. But right around 16, I started really making poor choices.
Well, before we get into even 16, Shauna was 2 years older than you, right?
2.5, yeah.
2.5.
Well, no, wait, she's 3. Sorry, 3. My kids are 2.5.
As you know, she's living in the same situation. How did she handle it at the same time you handled? So your handling of it was escaping to a friend's house.
Right. Fight or flight.
Yes. Did Shauna have that same opportunity? Did she escape to a friend's house too? How did that work?
Not so much. So she, and I would say this a lot, like, we grew up in the same house with the same parents and had similar experiences. I do think she probably had some additional things that went on with her because she spent more time with my dad. Those kind of things.
Yeah.
But she... drugs, the wrong guys. She stole a car. Like, she went way in the wrong direction. And it actually created this division between her and I, because I saw the things that she was doing. Sometimes she would try to get me to do some of those things, and sometimes I would. Like, she's the first person that got me to smoke weed. Like, it was like, if I was called the anti-Shauna, and anybody that's watching this that knows, like, I was the anti-Shauna for a long time. And we were opposite, definitely opposite.
So there was mental abuse, definitely.
Yes.
Was there any physical abuse?
I think more so with her. I honestly, if I did, it's a regression because I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know.
You think she had physical abuse because she stayed behind and was spending more time with
she would go with him to different things. I know, like, at one point she was at some place and there was like the Hells Angels there, and they were all partying together, and she was a teenager. Like, she might have been 15 and she's hanging out with Hells Angels, doing God knows what. So, because he would take her to these things.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're into 16, right around that age. You're doing some things that, you said you probably shouldn't have been, but it was a different route than Shauna.
Right. Like, I wasn't crazy. I wasn't, like, horribly bad. I was still but I think I looked for relationships that mimicked probably what I had, because that's what I knew.
That's probably a normal thing.
Yeah.
With a lot of people, actually.
Yeah. So I dated a guy who was 8 years older than me. And, like, looking back now, I was like, I would never allow my kids to do that. But my mom wasn't happy, but she was like, I can't control what you're doing.
So you're 15 at the time?
16.
That math in is 24.
Yeah. He was 24. So this leads into, like, trauma number, whatever number it is.
And I promise, like, there's a lot of trauma that goes on in Jodie's life, my life, and a lot of your lives. And there's going to be some emotional times, obviously, that we get through. But there's some good. There's a lot of good too. So we get I think that it obviously defines who you are. It defines who we all are.
Right.
And so, we're not just going to have a SAP session.
Right. This is literally these are the parts that made me realize what I needed.
Yeah. I agree. So go ahead and continue.
Okay. So when I was 16, and very few people know this, like, I wouldn't say this if my mom was still here. I was babysitting for the guy I was dating's friend, and him and his wife came home, and clearly they were out drinking, and she passed out in the living room, and he abused me in ways that clearly you can figure out. And I think that really was a turning point in my life that destroyed me. And ironically enough, when I told you about it, you knew him because of other reasons.
Yeah, which,
we don't need to go into that.
Call out or any of that stuff.
But I definitely experienced a lot of trauma from that I never processed. Like, I did nothing with it other than internalize it. And
still to this day.
Right. Like, I can talk about it now because I couldn't talk about it for a really long time. But I let that kind of change I went back to school. Nobody knew. Like, it's crazy now that I look back and think, like, I really held on to so much stuff and I didn't let people know.
Right. Well, you were dealing with it internally for sure.
Right. And I think that was the point where I would find friends that would be going to camp parties and smoking cigarettes and doing all those things. And I was like, oh, this makes me feel a little bit better. So I kind of ventured down that road early in life. And
all while you were still, picking up a job at this point, right?
Yeah, I was still working.
You've worked since you were 15, 16 years old. A lot of it in the restaurant industry.
Right.
Once you turned 21, then you got into probably the bartending stuff, I assume.
Yes. Yeah. So let's back up before that. So we get to.
Here I go. Fast forward.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Got to college.
Yeah.
So I
graduated high school.
Yeah, I graduated. I made it through that part. Still, literally, like, in this process of life, didn't know. Like, I'd gone to church. I knew, Jesus. I knew God. I knew about, but.
So what kind of church? So when you grew up, what kind of church did you go to?
I think
do you remember?
I think it's a Methodist church that we went to. But it was like very old school, kind of like, I don't really remember it because I don't think I participated much in it. It was very infrequent. But I do know that, like, I knew of, God and Jesus, and I don't want to call it religion because it's not religion. But one thing my mom used to always say, and it breaks my heart now that, like, I know different. She used to say, don't keep asking God. Don't bother him. He's got a lot of things to do. He's really busy. Like, how sad is that? But he's not, guys. He's not.
No,
he's not at all. But that's truly what she thought because she didn't know any better.
Right.
But
that probably goes to how she was raised as well. And it's a continuing cycle in our lives.
I think I broke that in her eventually in life.
I think you broke it in the cycle with you and the girls, right?
Yeah, definitely did. 100% did.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's, as Pastor Larry Ragland would say, ran in your family until it ran into you.
That's right.
Shout out to Larry.
That's right. Okay, so now I'm in college, and day one of school, I go into my English class, and there's a guy in there, and I'm like, oh, I wonder who he is. So I start eventually talking to him. By the way, super good guy, nice guy, not like all of these other guys in a lot of aspects, but we had a on again, off again college relationship. He lived couple hours away. But we stayed in connection, stayed in communication, and like we're still friends to this day. But I think he was that point in my life that I realized not everybody's horrible. But yeah.
There's a lot of good out there.
Yeah, there is a lot of good out there. I mean, we definitely like.
Sometimes we struggle to see that whenever we go through some of the things we go through, though.
Right.
Especially in the moment.
Yeah.
Until something like that happens.
I mean, granted, like we partied together and like our friends, like I was a little hippie back then. Like that was my new jam. That was my new look, my new thing. I wore the bell bottoms and yeah, I was because I could have a different identity.
So you moved from little Jodie Putt Putt into hippie Jodie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now you have to tell them the little Jodie Putt Putt
No,
story.
you're going to have to.
I don't even know how old I was, but I was afraid to ride my bike. So I would put my feet down and like pedal on the ground. And my cousin and my sister sang a little song, and it goes a little like this. Little Jodie Putt Putt going down the street doesn't know how to use the pedal, so she has to use her feet. So I hope that gets stuck in your head because
it got stuck in mine. That's
yeah,
why I brought it back up.
I've been little Jodie Putt Putt. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Oh,
all right. So we're college years.
Yep.
Continue from there. You got married at a very young age as well.
Well, that was round 2 of college because I actually quit college after my first year. That guy, he graduated, and I was like, well, I don't really have a purpose here because I don't like what I'm going to school for. So I just kind of decided that wasn't going to be it. Quit there, and then I went and got a job at the factory that my dad worked at and got fired from because the rest of my family worked there. And I met a lot of people. Like if you've ever done factory work, especially swing shift, your life is not normal. I worked 7 days, like 3 to 11, 7 days, 7 to 3, 7 days, 11 to 7. And we would go out almost every night after work and, we would drink and hang out, and a bunch of us got together and would go do stuff together. And, that kind of became, again, a new identity to me. Mm-hmm. And I actually remember, I wish I would have kept it. It was in a glass factory. We made TVs. Some of you can probably put that together, but I slid one off one day and I threw it. And the guy beside me is like, what? And I'm like, I just saw Jesus in there. And he's like, what? And I actually had them cut it out. I forgot all about this. I had them cut that piece out and I kept it for a while. And I don't know what ever happened to that, but I probably should have woke up then.
Right.
Should have been like, yeah, Jesus is chasing me, but I didn't. Yeah. So that was, did I just turn that off? No. Okay. Sorry. But then the factory closed down and I went back to college. So I'm on round 2 of college and, yeah, I got married pretty young. Okay. That was in that round 2. I was 23 years.
23?
Yeah. 23 years old. And I met a guy when I was bartending. And literally 3 months later, I married him in Vegas.
Are you kidding me?
I know you think that sounds about right.
Are you kidding me?
That's crazy.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. It didn't last, clearly. Yeah, so actually this is part of my God story because of him. I knew that he was cheating on me. I was actually sitting at the bar with one of my best buddies, a guy friend, and I told him he was cheating on me, and he's like, there's no way he is. And I said, well, I'm renting a car and I'm getting a wig and I'm driving there. And he's like, and what are you going to do when you get there? I'm like, well, I don't know. So he convinced me not to because I would look crazy. So one day I literally remember exactly where I was on the road. I was working in the construction field and I was on my way to work. And I said, God, I know that he's cheating on me. If he is, I want you to tell me. And I don't want it to be anything that I can deny. It has to be in my face and I need you to prove it to me. And I just kind of let it go at that. Christmas time rolls around. Husband number one is working in Maryland, and I was still living in central Pennsylvania. We had a Christmas party for my work, so he was just going to meet me there. I was driving with one of my coworkers, and he would meet me at the thing. So it's 2 days before Christmas, and I'm like, "Why are you acting so weird?" He's like, "I'm not." I'm like, "Well, you definitely are acting weird." So we go about do this Christmas party. The next day we wake up and we're driving down the road, and let me tell you, God showed up big time. I'm sitting there and he turns over. We're driving down the highway like 65, 70 miles an hour. And he turns over and he looks at me and he says, "I just want you to know I've been cheating on your entire marriage." I'm like, "Do I jump? What do I do?" I'm like, "What?" So of course I asked a bunch of questions and made that decision. I was like, okay, like I'm not doing this. Let him come to like my family Christmas stuff only for the fact that I was too embarrassed. And as soon as Christmas was over, I kicked him out, and I was like, nope. Like I'm not okay with that. That's one thing you won't do is cheat on me. Mm-hmm. So kicked him out, and then I found other better mistakes.
So you had no kids with husband number one?
Nope. And thank God. But he had a daughter who I am actually still close with with her and her mom. So, okay. Which is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he actually calls me one day because he knew I started dating this other guy that I met while bartending, because that's what I did. And he's like, "I don't think you should be dating him. He's bad news." And I'm like, "Watch this." I'm like, "Okay, you think so? That's exactly why I'm going to date him, because you are bad news." So I dated him. And then I decided I was going to marry him. I think we were only together a couple months, and I found out I was
not in Vegas.
No, not in Vegas. Okay. We were only together a couple months, and I actually found out I was pregnant, and I miscarried. So should have been a godsend, but so we were together, I don't know, probably a year and a half or so until I don't even know. I tried to block this all out, but we did get married, and he is the father of my 2 children. How deep we want to go into this conversation?
We're going to keep it on a positive note as best you can.
Okay.
That's how deep, because this is real life, not only for us, what we're living, it's for other people that are watching, mm-hmm. and potentially little ears as well. So
yes.
Let's keep this. You can tell some of the facts, but mm-hmm. let's do it in a respectful way.
But that relationship was very unhealthy, abusive, physically, mentally, more so mentally than anything, very narcissistic. And it definitely, again, changed me. It created this it opened this whole different factor in me that thankfully, like, it was a good fire that built in me, because I had kids, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do better. Like, this is where this changes.
Mm-hmm. And before you go too deep into mm-hmm. this too, just there's some details that you probably, could maybe help somebody, but you don't have to necessarily get into. And because, again, if the girls would listen to this, mm-hmm. we want to make sure that, there's other things you want to discuss with them, that you can do it at a later time when they're adults.
Yeah. But this, I guess, I don't know how much of that you want to really go into, but there was definitely infidelity. Again, I don't stand for that.
Yeah. So that ended up splitting the marriage after how many years?
Well, when my oldest turned 1, I left for the first time. And so this is where my mom and I differed. I left for the first time, and after a couple months, I was convinced to go back. So I did. And after I went back, a year and a half later, I got pregnant with my second daughter. And, so I had both kids. And when she turned 1, this was like my thing. When they turned 1, it was like a wake up call to me. So when she turned 1, I decided that was like the for real done. And I left. No, I actually walked away from my own house at one point with nothing, absolutely nothing, because I was too terrified to go to my house. That was actually the first time I left. I was too scared to be there because it was out in the woods. And I was like, if anything happens, I'm gone before they get to me. So I left. I actually went when my oldest was 1. When I left, I actually went to the store and bought formula and bottles, clothes and diapers, just so I didn't have to go back.
And where did you go from there?
I went to my mom's house. She actually lived with my grandmother, who she took care of, which that's going to be part of our later story as well. And so I went to her house and was, blessed enough to be able to have a place to go that I was somewhat safe.
Mm-hmm.
And
then you moved out eventually, got a house on your own.
Yeah. So whenever we had gotten back together that second time, I actually bought the house across the street from my mom. And that was where him and I had lived, but the house was in my mom and I's name. So it was my house. And yeah, there was not, I mean, of course we had times that we got along and things were fine, but it was definitely not a good situation in my life. And
so you finally got out of that.
Yes.
And enough was enough. And after the second time, that was the last.
That was it. So I ended up a little bit later. Well, actually, before I even got in another relationship, I was living there by myself and life took a crazy turn. I had already lived that house for a couple of years, and my sister had moved in with my mom, and my nephew was living with her as well. He was only, I don't even know how old he was at the time. Probably, I think he was 13 or 14 around that time. And my niece was staying with me one night, and she comes over to my room and she's like, "Hey, there's ambulances at your mom's house." I'm like, "What?" So I get up and I run across the street, and there's ambulances and a fire truck and like all these people. And I'm like, what the heck? So I walk inside and they're doing CPR on my sister on the living room floor. And my mom's standing in the kitchen with my nephew. And I'm like, what is happening? And why didn't anybody call me? She's like, "Oh, she just came out the hallway and she collapsed. And I don't know what happened. I just called 911 and they got here." I'm like, okay, so they're continuing to do CPR. And they're still doing it as they're putting her on a gurney and putting her in the ambulance and taking her. So like my mom and my sister and I get in the car. I'm like, "Let's go." I'm driving us to the hospital. So we go there and we don't hear anything for, I don't know, probably I'd say 45 minutes to an hour. Because I had enough time to make a couple phone calls. Like I called one of her best friends and the guy that she dated that led her way down the wrong path. So they come out and they tell us that she didn't make it. And I was like, wow. So here's my nephew, 14 years old. And
that's how old he was.
Yeah, he was 14.
You were
30. Well, so it was 2 days before her 38th birthday. So she was 37. So that would make me 33 or 34. Right? Is that math right? I don't know.
34-ish. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Close enough.
So I had just turned 35. That's why it didn't make sense, because my birthday fell 2 weeks before hers. So I had just turned 35 and she was about to turn 38, which ironically, all through her life, she would always say, "I'm not going to live to be 38. And literally 2 days before her birthday, she passes.
But the cause?
Yeah. So the autopsy report was a mass on, I want to say it was her liver. I'm not 100%, but she had crazy manic episodes, into prescription drugs, a lot of not great things. I don't want to like, she's not here to defend herself.
Right.
But she went down the wrong path, and basically she had done so many drugs and prescriptions that it killed her. This mass that she had ruptured and was so severe that it put her into cardiac arrest, and that was ultimately what did it. So that happened in June, and October, this was like the year that was just not great. October, my dog that I had had since he was 16 weeks old, and he went everywhere with me. He was my protector. Like, that was my boy. He's 130 to 140 pound chocolate lab. Like, he's a big dog. He's a big fella. Yeah. But he was like the gentlest. Like, he even saved my life one time when I had a carbon monoxide leak. He woke me up and took me outside. Like, this dog,
Lassie.
Yeah. Like, he was my baby.
Now I'm showing my age.
Yeah. But my dog was outside, and he was never on a leash or in anything because he never left. But I hear this boom, and he had gotten hit by a car, and I was in the middle of changing my youngest diaper, and I went, oh, and I just ran out the door. And as soon as I opened the door, my other dog, who is this little mixed poodle everything breed, like half the size of this dog's head, like Swiper was tiny. I watched him get hit and flip through the air and land on the road. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And a car stopped, and I'm like, please tell me it's not my lab. Please tell me it's not my lab. And sure enough, it totaled the guy's car, and some great souls stopped, and they literally couldn't pick him up. They had to drive their truck over and lift him onto the back because he couldn't physically carry him. My neighbor, who just passed not long after we moved, he was actually there, and like, I had a complete nervous breakdown. He carried me into my house, and but it was a year. And all during this time, I'm in the process of getting a PFA on my ex, and this guy has his car totaled. He's telling me he's going to sue me. And I'm like, oh, like, just keep on piling it on. But that was the year of
a lot of grief.
Yeah.
And tragedy.
Yeah.
Within that year. I mean, even the other things that we talked about leading up to that. And, it sounds like you knew that Jesus was real, right? At this point. Right. But you really didn't have a relationship.
Right.
So how do you process this kind of trauma and do it in a positive way and when not knowing Christ?
I think having my children and knowing that I needed to do better for them was a drive. I didn't know what my solution was, but I knew I needed one.
Because you also were a little wild child too.
I was.
You skipped the whole motorcycle phase.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part.
You skipped
that. Was back when I worked in the factory. I was. Well, it's actually kind of funny. I thought about this the other day. I rode motorcycles, and I hung out with all the like biker people, and they were like my buddies. And I was building a motorcycle. I wasn't personally. I was having it built, but I was going to have it painted to say "crazy bitch," and I decided not to. So I actually
good decision.
Yeah. Well, instead I painted these phantom skulls and stuff all over it. But
flames or no?
No flames. Well, I guess they were kind of like a phantom flame.
So the hole with setting the hole on fire.
Yeah, it just kept on following me. Yeah. So
it deterred you from putting flames on the bike.
Yeah. But I think about that now. I'm like, man, I really just thought I was cool and I was tough and nobody's gonna talk to me and I'm just a bad bitch. Like, guys, don't be that way.
By the way,
it sounds
I
cool.
Called that. I knew you'd be the first one to cuss on the podcast.
Oh, this is true. Yeah, you did. It's actually a female dog, so it's not a bad word. Okay, so where are we?
All right. So we were at how we're handling the grief and tragedy
and not having a relationship with God?
Oh.
During that, losing your sister at a very young age, losing obviously your best friend, right? Because
my dog was my best friend, for sure.
Get so close to our animals.
Yeah, my sister and I had almost like just became like we knew each other. Like we weren't close. She was not. We weren't that sisterly bond. I wanted it, but we weren't. So what did I do? I got in another bad relationship.
No.
Right?
Say it ain't so.
Surprise. 3 years. Yeah. Guess how that one ended?
How did that one end?
He cheated on me.
No.
You'd never believe it. I know. So guess what I did? Out. But I'm still really close, again, with his daughter and his daughter's mother.
That's a testimony to how you are as a mother, though.
Yeah,
because you create relationships with not only your own daughters, you're so loving and welcoming to other family members as well, and you treat them like your own.
Yeah. Well, it's not their fault. Like they shouldn't be treated differently. It's not they didn't choose this. Like I didn't choose my father. They didn't choose their father. So yeah, I would welcome any of them still. And I always will. But that relationship ended. And during this time, guess who came back into my life?
1, 2, or I guess this was the end of 3. So what?
My dad.
Oh,
none. My dad. My aunt calls me and says, "Hey, your dad's not doing very well. I don't know if he's going to make it." And I'm like, "Okay. Like, what do you want me to do?" So I was like, "Well, just let me know if anything happens." So somehow he miraculously recovers. Like, I don't even know how, but me being the person that I am, I'm like, okay, I should probably go check and see him just in case. So I go to the hospital and he's in there, and I took pictures. I actually have pictures, and I wish we knew how to share all this stuff. Maybe someday we will.
Mm-hmm.
But
I probably don't want to show him in that condition anyhow.
No, maybe not.
He looked pretty frail.
Yeah, but he was so mean to me. He first said something about said something about Shauna, and I'm like, she's not here. She died. And he I don't even know, you couldn't understand him because he mumbled, and he said something that was basically calling me what I was going to put on my motorcycle. And I'm like, all right, well, don't need this in my life. So I kind of went about my way. And again, he survives. I don't know how, but he lives. And
do you think it's maybe that we're given
more chances,
opportunity,
right, to change,
come to Jesus?
Yes, 100%.
Even as horrible as we can be,
right,
and people can be, and to get a chance, right?
Wasn't it in Gabe's book that said even if Hitler, repented and gave his life to Jesus, he could be in heaven too?
Yeah.
So anybody can.
Mm-hmm.
But he ended up moving to Florida and lived there for a while until he started kind of getting beat up and a lot of crazy stuff was happening. So my aunt, again, brings him back, and she's like, well, he's going to stay with me for a little bit. And she only lived, I don't know, 1.5 miles down the road from me. And I was like, whatever you do, he is not welcome in my house. Do not tell him where I live. And he is not allowed to see my children, because I knew the life I lived.
Mm-hmm.
I was not doing that to my kids. And he ended up moving into some government housing through the military. And I get a call one day that he is not going to make it. He's in the hospital. And I'm like, okay. So my mom, literally, this woman, he put her through so much. And my mom's like, I'll go to the hospital with you. And there's a nurse, which maybe she'll watch this because we're still friends. She is the one that was at the hospital, and she called me that day. And she was crying. And she's like, I know you don't want to be here, but you need to. And I was like, no, I'm not. And she's like, trust me. I've been in your shoes. You need to be here. I'm like, okay. So my mom, God love her, like, he's like, I'm going with you. And we go to the hospital, and he had passed by the time we got there, which, thank you, God, because I think that was something that I needed, because I felt this weight lifted like you would not believe. Like I felt free. It was literally the craziest thing. And my mom did something in the parking lot that always sticks with me. When we got there, she gave me a piece of gum, and she took a piece of gum, and she's like, here. I'm like, okay, you just give me gum. My breath probably stinks. So we go in, and like everything transpires. And as we're leaving, she's like, spit it out. I'm like, what? She's like, spit your gum out. It's over. And I was like, okay. And it was literally like this defining moment where I was like, it kind of reminds me of Jesus on the cross. Like, it's finished. Like, it was this release of me. And I just can't even explain to you. I was like, huh, like I feel different. And not only did I feel different during this time period of my life, my best friend said, hey, come to church with me. So I did. The first day I'm in there, I'm like, man, it's kind of weird. Everybody's got their hands up and they're singing. And I'm like, I don't know about this. And it was probably the...
What kind of church, you remember?
Non-denominational. Okay. You'll know about this church. So probably the, I want to say, third time that I was there, they played a song, and it said that God knows where you left him, and he knows where to find you. And I literally, like, those lyrics wrecked me. And I was like, he found me. Like, he literally in that moment found me. I that's where everything literally changed. Yeah, like God will seek you out, and he will find you. And there's nothing you can do about it. Like, like he's just like,
and he loves you.
Now. Yeah.
And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
That's right. And it's so crazy because it's such a, like, you feel that power. Like I felt that freedom. And then I felt this connection to something that I didn't know what I had. Like, I even remember, it was probably one of the second times that I feel like I heard God. So like the first time is when I mean, he didn't speak to me personally, but he spoke through my ex whenever he looked at me and like, oh, I've been cheating on you our entire marriage. But the other time I was going through a lot of like child support stuff and custody. And I remember saying, I'm so tired of fighting these battles. It's like I can't ever win. And I heard God's voice in my spirit saying, because it's not your battle to fight. And it was like, it was so like profound to me in that moment. Like, give it to him. It's not yours to fight. Like, you're going through this over and over and over because you're trying to do it on your own. Right. It's not yours to do on your own. So I know so many people go through this process where you think like all this trauma is who you are. It's not. It's God building up in you to have a testimony because there's somebody else out there that needs this, that needs to hear this. I just watched a thing the other day, and I think I mentioned it to you, but I call it the broken bone theory, that if you haven't broken bones throughout your life, you're going to experience physical trauma and physical pain and not the broken bone kind of stuff. I'm like, well, I wish I would have broken a couple bones, but
or emotional trauma.
Yeah. Emotional trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if physical trauma would be breaking the bones.
Yes.
If you haven't broken a bone, then you
experience a physical trauma.
More emotional trauma.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it kind of makes sense. So maybe check yourself on that.
Yeah. It could be a theory. Who knows?
Yeah, could be a theory.
I've broken bones, so.
I have not. No. Yeah. But
you also, even, so all that went through, I mean, I'm sure you got like mean, with your dad passing, probably got some type of inheritance.
Okay, we joke about this because, guys, listen, this is real life. I inherited 430 packs of Natty Ice. Like, for real. That's what I inherited. So the place he was, yeah, because I made him drink one with me because it was so bad, and I didn't even drink hardly any of them.
No.
I did get a really cool, it's a turtle picture that one of his friends from Florida had made with actual like sea life, like sea articles. And we have that hanging in the house and it's with, is it watercolor or not watercolor?
I don't know.
Charcoal chalk, something.
It's kind of cool looking.
Yeah. But it's super cool. Like that's one thing that I'm like, you know what? I really like that because it's cool. Yeah. So his apartment, I got a funny story I got to tell though. So his apartment that he was living in, the water line burst while he was in the hospital and everything got ruined. So I got to give myself props because I was next of kin. So I'm the one that got notified and I said, I will go and help clean this place out because it was the responsibility of the family. So we get there and my aunt and I are cleaning stuff up and it was gross. Like it was bad. Like this. Like the ceiling tiles were everywhere. It was soggy. It smelled. It was not good. And I opened up the closet and I kid you not, there was a prosthetic leg.
I remember that.
I was like, what do you do with this?
He had both legs, right?
He had both his legs. Apparently it was some girl that he was talking to and she stole like his fishing stuff. So somehow he ends up with her prosthetic leg and I had to take it to the police department. Yeah, I'm such a good person sometimes.
And you had to return the prosthetic?
I had to return the leg. Yeah.
Okay.
That was a good time. Actually, I had her go to the police station and pick it up because I found out who she was. And I contacted her and said, you want your leg? It's at the police station.
And you found out where she worked you called her place of employment. It was IHOP?
That's not right. That's wrong.
All right. So you have no inheritance.
I have no inheritance. I got
lots
nothing
of
out
trauma.
of that. Yeah. Yeah.
And you're nearly 40 years old at this point, right?
Yeah.
Upper 30s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Makes me feel pretty good.
So let's go back to one of the most important things that you talked about briefly, when the stirring inside of you and Jesus started working.
Yeah.
Where did that go? Where did that lead you from there?
I decided that, so there's other parts to this story, but I'm not going to deviate and move on to those phases. But during this time, I was going to church pretty much every week. And I started, serving at the church. And it was then that I was like, you know what? I need to be baptized. So I made the decision you were there, and my best friend and her husband. So Shannon, thank you. But yeah.
So you were going to church, and this was right before you and I met then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it started going to church.
That's when it started really.
Yeah, it was when
really sinking.
Yeah,
in.
that's when God
when
really
did you
grabbed
give
hold
your
of me.
life to Jesus? When did you invite him into your heart? When did you really believe? And
it was literally that moment that song hit me. It was like this is what I needed. Like I knew at that moment that Jesus was what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, it was probably a couple months later that I got baptized.
Okay.
I think it was like the next time they were doing baptisms that I got baptized.
So he got a hold of you.
Oh, he got a hold of me, and
stirring in your
Lord.
spirit.
Yeah,
in your heart.
Yeah, he changed my life, and I spent a lot of time in kind of new age stuff.
You also, right? I wanted to talk a little bit about that. So you were also into Reiki.
Yes. So Reiki
Talk a little bit about, not everybody knows what Reiki is.
Yeah. Reiki is energy healing. And it's basically you are in a meditative state, and the Reiki master is the person that you can do it with prayer and intention. But basically they, are able to move their hands over you. There are certain signs that you learn and different things that you learn, sayings that you learn. I'll call them rituals because basically they're rituals.
Mm-hmm.
But I spent an entire weekend with, she's a wonderful person. Like, I love her. But to get my Reiki 1 and 2 Holy Fire, and I did, and I had some crazy experiences. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I heard people speaking that weren't there. I knew things about other people. I felt like I did this one session and I literally felt this like needle go in through my neck, and I could feel them continuously pulling this needle. Like I felt it, like 100% felt it. And there was just a lot of crazy experiences, and I learned a lot of, I'll call it supernatural stuff. Like, I tapped into a spiritual realm, and
well,
I didn't do it for bad. I did it for good, but looking back now, I know that that's not God's plan.
Yeah.
But my mom was also, able to do that stuff. She did this, if you got burnt, she could do this prayer and this healing, and she healed a lot of people. And so she had some, I always call them powers, like some supernatural powers, but literally like the kindest soul in the world. And she would have done anything to help anybody. And I think that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted to do something that was beneficial and helpful to people.
Mm-hmm.
So helping, like, you think, hey, I can help heal you. I can heal your energy. But now if I'm looking at it like, yeah, I want to help heal people, but it's in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was into that for quite a while. And even,
you were,
listening to psychics.
Yeah.
I got you into it a little bit.
I know. I mean, because I was new in my walk at that point too.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to get too deep into, because that's going to be another episode as how, we grew together.
Yeah. That's kind of why I stopped where I stopped.
But when you get to, let's at least get to the point where kind of we met and we crossed paths. Right. So you went through this, you're going to church now.
Mm-hmm.
What are some other things happening in your life? This was probably February time frame,
January. My dad died in January. So it was right after that.
January of 18.
Yeah. And I was going to church, and what's ironic is you were also going to church. That's in for another episode. However, I don't know what even was going on in my life at that point. Like, I
don't know. I mean,
was
you got
to supernatural.
Well, yeah, but you got to the point where you were getting off of social media.
Oh,
so let's get
we're telling that story.
Yeah, we're getting to that.
All right. So I was still able to kind of make these connections. And now I look back and I think it was literally God talking to me. In that time, I was like, oh, it's a spirit talking to me. It was God or Holy Spirit, honestly. So for the month of February, I decided, hey, I'm getting off social media. I'm done. Like, I need to just detox, get away from this. And I need to focus on, bettering myself. So I got rid of all my social media, and I'm sitting at work one day, and well, first, actually, I think I have to go back a little bit because this guy kept popping up on my people you should know. So I'm asking my best friend, like, hey, do you know this guy? She's like, you don't need a boyfriend. And so I asked another one of my friends, and she was like, I don't know. I've seen him. I'm going to send him a friend request. Now, granted, she's one of my good friends, and she was in her 70s at the time. So he, of course, didn't accept it. And I'm like, okay, I don't know who he is. Like, he's just
danger. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm like, he's just some good looking dude with his hat on backwards sitting in a Jeep. Like,
So things never change. Where's my Jeep?
I know. But I got off social media, and I just kind of was like, you know what? I don't need a boyfriend right now. I got to work on me. So I'm sitting in my office, and I hear in my spirit, now. And I'm like, seriously? And I was like, okay. Like, I knew 100% that it was, you need to get on Facebook and you need to send him a friend request. So I did. And
what was the response?
So I send him this friend request, and next thing I know, I see this like, you know, the little button or the little bubbles.
3 dots.
Yeah, the 3 dots, and it pops up. Do I know you? And I was like, no. And he says, I said no, not yet, or something along those lines. And he goes, do you go to boot camp? And I said, no, but I used to. You said, I'll accept your friend request if you go back. I'm like, okay. And do we want to tell them?
No, we started talking at that point that night and really like hit it off.
It never stopped.
And I'll get into tomorrow's episode or the next episode.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it.
Exactly when, just remember this point. When Jodie says, now, I'll explain to you in episode number 2
why
exactly where I was at and what was going on when I received that message.
Yeah, because this is kind of a pivotal moment.
Yeah. So we're going to end it at that.
Yeah.
And is there anything else that you want to, anything you might have forgot or anything you want to encourage anyone else? It's a powerful testimony, Jodie. You've gone through so much trauma. Like I said, I know we've all gone through trauma and everybody's trauma is different.
Mm-hmm.
But there's power in your testimony. And there's a reason why Jesus is using you throughout all this. And even so us and bringing us together and using us, you know, which we'll get into in episode 3. There's a lot of power in your testimony. So I appreciate you being vulnerable to everyone. I know that's not easy to do.
It's a lot. Like I lived a lot of this, and I've tried piece by piece to tell my story throughout my life because it is important. And it wasn't until, I don't know, the past several years that it really all came together for me to understand it and to understand why. But even when my walk was still new, I knew there was a reason. I knew there was something more.
Mm-hmm.
I was seeking it, and sometimes I was seeking it in the wrong places, but I was seeking it. And it was almost like God showed up and was like, it's not there, it's here. And I realized that that's where it was. And you know what? He's using me. I ask him all the time, like, just use me, Lord, like use me. And yes,
he's using you.
Yeah, he definitely is. Because I think the things that I've gone through would have broken a lot of people or steered them in the wrong direction. Steered them in the wrong direction. Like I look at my sister,
mm-hmm.
You know, we came from so much of the similarities in life, and she went one way and I went the other. And thank you, Lord, for taking me on that direction, because I want to be here for this.
Mm-hmm. And the Lord is coming back sooner than many of you realize. And that's kind of, you know, I gave Larry a shout out, but as in the days of Noah, so it will be when coming the Son of Man. And if we have, and I'm also gonna plug his book, The Final Flood.
You got to read it, guys.
You got to get on Amazon, order The Final Flood, look for Larry Ragland, search for this book. There are a lot of things coming out this year, and you do not want to be deceived. So I encourage you to buy that book, read through it, and really be prepared to not be deceived with some things that are coming.
Right. And I think that kind of goes along with why I'm here and where I'm at now, is because I'm bold enough to speak out.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I hope that my story encourages somebody else that don't be ashamed. Like it is your past and it is part of who you are for a reason. You know, people are going to judge me and I don't really care. Like that's on them. That's their choice. And like everybody has skeletons in their closet. I just opened my closet and threw my skeletons out at you. So I'm not ashamed. I'm not embarrassed. It's nothing. Would I change some things knowing now? Yeah, I would, but I won't be who I am or where I'm at. So I can 100% accept it. Am I perfect? Heck no. Have I hurt people along the way? Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I am sorry. Right. Hurt people. Exactly.
And
there's
a lot of truth to that.
My intention was never to be hurtful to anybody. But it's what happens when you're going through the trenches.
Tragedy. And we'll get into more of that on episode 3 of how some things that we dealt with together and how that affected our life.
Yeah.
And, kind of where we're at now because of it.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. Thank you, Jodie, for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening and sharing with me. And I didn't mean to cry. I'm sorry.
Hey, you got me too. Allergy season.
Yeah.
It gets me all the time.
It's love bug season here.
All right. Well, share this with someone you know. We love you guys, and we'll see you again.
And if you didn't hit that thumbs up, please do it now. Like, let me at least feel like you understand a little bit and know that we love you.
Share some love. All right. Love you guys.
All right. Love you. See you soon.
See you soon.